Hi, I'm Demian Gover, and I'm a spiritual teacher. I've lived my life with so many questions, and it has put me through so many struggles. And I've made many mistakes, but I have been blessed to have had many of my most troubling questions answered. I've come to understand what it means to forgive and be forgiven, what role our thoughts and emotions play in creating our reality, and what we can do to recognize our relationship with the higher power. As humans, we have inherited a great deal of burdensome responsibility from our ancestors, both in terms of mistakes we've made and obligations we've taken on. At the same time, we have amassed a great deal of cultural artifacts from which the collective wisdom of human history can be studied. The vast amount of art and literature that document our human experience is more than one person could absorb in a lifetime, but it is this very richness of record that should provide us the perspective that being a human is no simple business. We are complex beings with a wide variety of emotions, dreams, and pursuits. In previous times, we could only guess about what people in faraway places might be thinking. Now, with online social media, we can have a conversation of almost instantaneous responses with a group of people on the other side of the world. This has proven to be a double edged sword of both cooperation and conflict. It has been said that knowledge will set you free, and that communication is the key to successful relationships. If this is true, it would seem that we are not taking advantage of our new, most powerful cultural gifts. If anything, the ability to communicate broadly and instantaneously has given us the ability to bring conflict against each other that much faster. And the accessibility of knowledge does not naturally lead people to responsible and critical thinking. Many people today fear that even with the near entirety of human knowledge literally at our fingertips, we seem more lost than ever before. However, um, despite our seeming missteps, we have seen many examples of people coming together as never before. People are becoming aware of the beauty of our relationships with each other, even over vast distances. We can now witness internationally cooperative agents of change for beneficial and sustainable social development. Where we once held fast to the belief in the necessity for demonization of external forces, we are beginning to offer up our personal responsibility for the state of our world in a conscious way. In other words, we no longer find it acceptable to simply put blame on the other guy. We now recognize the power of our own attitudes in determining how we personally experience our own existence. We are now beginning to see how the attitudes we put out affect others and truly come back to us. I believe that even with our faults, we are currently experiencing a shift in consciousness. I observe this based on the quality of thought being exhibited on an ever-increasing scale, which no longer accepts greed, selfishness, condemnation, or apathy as tolerable modes of self-expression. When we witness the beauty, the love, the comedy, and even the suffering and atrocities of the world, how do we respond to these perceptions? Do we respond with compassion, with love, with understanding and forgiveness? Do we respond with the authority that we ourselves take responsibility for the condition of the world, secure in the awareness that our emotional choices determine our ultimate reality? Or do we maintain our self-righteous indignation, convicted by the belief that it is our right and responsibility to judge, denounce, and ridicule others? Are we even aware of where our beliefs and attitudes come from? When do we become aware that our interpretation of events reflects not our accuracy of discernment, but rather our own fears and prejudices? When do we become aware that we begin to see truth when we cease to allow fears and prejudices? Is it possible to lead a fully present and meaningful life without our suspicion, our defense mechanisms, or our us versus them mentality? Well, I ask the question, is it possible to lead a fully present and meaningful life with them? I invite everyone to let go of their anger, to let go of their fear, to let go of their doubt that the world is anything other than what they decide it is. If you decide that the world is a vicious, burdensome, and exacting place, then it is. If you decide that the world is a refuge of security and wonder, then it is. I cannot tell you what to decide your experience is. I can only remind you that your decisions determine your experience. If you are truly seeking answers, I can point to that which is already in you that has authority over your inner states. In my past, it did me no good to proclaim to myself, I control my destiny, when I was so full of anger, doubt, and judgment. I look back on my life before I became aware of this, and I see a person completely out of control. I was telling myself that I took responsibility for my own thoughts and actions, but I had a deeply rooted belief that external events were happening to me over which I had no control. So my extreme emotional responses were both justified and appropriate. I had no understanding at the time of how much my emotional states were creating my perceptual experience. On the outside, I was bold, arrogant, and indignant, self-assured and unshakable. On the inside, I was like a lost and hungry child, terrified and howling in the dark. I realized it doesn't have to be that way. Think about it. Thank you. I'm Demian Gover.